Hi guys, it's Benny from 2X Space Station. How's everyone doing? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm super excited because I've got lots of goodies to show you guys that I've picked up over the last week or so. Firstly, I'm very pleased to show you that I've got a new system. Let me introduce you to my Super Famicom. This is a very old, ancient system that's very much yellowed on the front. It's not in the greatest condition, but it will do the job. And I went for a Super Famicom rather than an SNES because, well, these were frankly much cheaper. And also, obviously, there's the whole PAL versus NTSC thing with this can, output at 60 Hz, 60 FPS. So it's probably the better choice for me. And I found it for really cheap. It was £19.99 for just the system on its own. But that seemed the best way to go for me because I don't know if you guys know, but the actual Genesis power supply, the PAL Mega Drive power supply will work on a Famicom, Super Famicom. So that was, that was a no-brainer. It was cheap, and I wanted to get myself some decent cables anyway. I actually went for a third-party, relatively cheapo Chinese RGB cable, and when I first plugged it in, there's this horrible humming sound. I realized that you have to be careful to get decent quality cables because of a grounding issue, which can cause a lot of buzz and noise when you're using RGB. So for the first few days I was using S-Video, which looked fine, but then I got myself a decent cable from, Retro Gaming Cables, which now looks beautiful in RGB. Now the reason why I got myself a Super Famicom, as you guys will know, I'm not really massively into the SNES era. I didn't have it as a kid. I'm not particularly bothered about the games on it and stuff like that. It was never really part of my history, and I know a lot of you guys love the system, and it's a great system, don't get me wrong. But I didn't buy it because I want to play SNES games on it particularly. I bought it because I wanted to use one of these, a Super Game Boys. This is my second pickup. This is the original Super Game Boy. There is a Mark II that was released only in Japan, which I haven't got. This was much easier to find and very cheap. I think this one cost me about £13 off eBay. Because you guys know I'm still on a massive Game Boy kick, and I wanted to figure out a reasonable way of recording the Game Boy games so that I can review them and show them to you guys as my collection grows. I'm still trying to get a complete shmup collection. The games are still coming in. There are some very tricky ones, including a game called Zaz, which is really rare and only goes for about £180 in Japan. No idea how I'm going to get hold of that game. Any advice, then please let me know. There are a few different ways that you can play your Game Boy or record your Game Boy on a telly. The Super Game Boy is one of those. There's also the Game Boy Player for the GameCube, which I don't have a GameCube, and that's actually quite expensive. And maybe you could use Retron 5s and other things like that. But this, now I've got a proper, official, decent way of recording my Game Boy games and showing them all to you guys. So I've been really enjoying this. It's a very good quality thing. It's so great. You can choose your own custom color palettes. You can doodle on the screen. There are custom borders. Certain games like Pokemon have their own special borders. And it's overall a really good quality, decent thing. It's amazing to think that they released this back in the day so you could play your Game Boy games on the screen. And yeah, really impressive piece of kit. You guys may or may not know, there is a timing issue with the Super Game Boy Mark I, in that the games run about 2 to 3% faster than they would do on your Game Boy, so the music is a little bit more high-pitched, and potentially the games are a little bit more difficult, especially if you're playing shmups like I am, because things are a little bit faster, but I'm hardcore, whatever. If you want to get it back to the original time, then you need to go for the Mark II, the Super Game Boy 2, which also had a link cable slot in it and things like that, but they're a bit expensive and a bit more difficult to get hold of. Now, to go along with those, I also got myself a Game Boy EverDrive, and this is from Crix, really great EverDrive production company. This guy, based in Ukraine, makes EverDrives for loads of different systems. Someone commented on one of my videos saying, can you find any cheap EverDrives? The answer is yes, but it depends on what kind of limitations you're willing to accept. This is the X3. The more recent EverDrives, the X5, I think we're up to now, have some better features, but they also go up to 80 quid, whereas this one was about 45 or 50 quid, which to me it's fine, it does the trick. The only thing I would say with it is that for this, if you want to save to a cart, say you're playing Pokemon, ROM or a ROM hack, which is what I've been doing recently, you have to press this little button on the cartridge to reset it, to dump the RAM memory into the whatever onto the chip, which is fine. It just, you have to remember not to turn it off until you've pressed that and reset it. But for me, that's not 30 quid's worth of inconvenience. I'm happy with a 50 quid does the job kind of thing. So there we have it. 3 really exciting pickups. I'm really enjoying finally getting accustomed with a Super Famicom after all this time. I'm not sure if I'm going to start collecting some of the actual Super Famicom games because I missed out on lots of the great Mario games and the RPGs. Maybe I will in the future, though I'm a little bit reluctant to go down another avenue of collecting for a new system. But it's great in terms of playing Game Boys on the big screen. I'm having an absolute hoot. I've completed quite a lot of shmups recently. I beat Solar Striker, I've beat R-Type 1, and I'm working through trying to get some 1 credit completions and no miss runs of those games, which is really fun. So I will update you soon when I've got some more of my shmup games arriving. Take care guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.